All right. Hello and welcome to Race Brain Podcast. My name is Rich Ryan, joined by Bracken Crocker and Jack Bauer. Today, we have Spartan Race World Championships in Abu Dhabi to recap. And then there's some other made up race that Jack wants to talk about that was happening somewhere over in the UAE as well. Correct, Jack?
Yeah, basically everybody who ended up doing Abu Dhabi is sticking around and doing this one. And Rich,
So,
you actually have experience racing at the venue that it was there. It's the same location where Gov Games was held when you went. So
is it going to be as goofy?
Now you're interested, right?
Super goofy games?
No, this isn't Goofy Games.
Are we sure?
Yeah.
Okay. So this was what year? What I feel like they should have this like the Super Bowl. The number of times there's been a how many championships have there been for Spartan Race? What number is this?
I want probably like the 14th because we didn't have one in 2020. The first was 2011. So if you do each year, including the start, that should be 14. But then they added a second championship this year for the short course in Croatia, and then they had the Beast also in 2023.
No, those
so
don't
we're
count.
up to 16.
Stop. No.
Yeah.
I won't hear it.
Yeah.
BK, how many is this? 14? We sticking with that?
14.
This is the 14th time a world champion has been crowned for Spartan Race. And over the years, this really has been the race that we do pay attention to and point at as the actual world championship for obstacle course racing, as Spartan has been the biggest player in the scene. Again, it can be debated on what kind of style you want to deem as the style of OCR, but this was Spartan Race, and Gregory Basilico came away with an impressive win in 2:01:03. Richard Heineck was second. Thibaut Jean was third. Richard was about a minute and a half behind Gregory.
It got close.
Gregory was up 4 minutes, like an hour into the race.
Oh, it was disgusting, the pace that he was throwing down. And he had maybe like a 5-minute lead at the double sandbag. And then I messaged Bracken. I'm like, I think Heineck's going to go from like fifth or fourth into second, wherever it is here, because he's so good at heavy carries. And then suddenly the lead was down to like 90 seconds, and they were entering the gauntlet. And I was like, if he misses a spear and has to do burpees, like we might see Heineck win. I was really excited for that.
Because it seemed like an absolute blowout. The way that Gregory was running, he goes by Greg. Or is it
Gregory?
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
It's kind of like Robert Killian. Who called him Rob? Like, it's just...
He goes by Rob.
Personally, he does. I know.
Okay.
But like when we're addressing...
all his friends.
I was like, in casual conversation, yeah. But
maybe not, I don't know about how they roll in France, but...
I think Basilico, just use the last name.
That could work. He was flying on some of these stretches on the course that were rolling flat, some down. It was like something I'm almost haven't witnessed seeing without it being like an incredible pitch down if it's like a Johnny Luna Lima type. But being able to see someone run this fast that early into the race that aggressively was something. And we knew this of him, right? So this wasn't a surprise.
Done it before.
Right.
But they hit a patch of harder packed about in the middle of the race, maybe 60% through, whatever, leading towards, there's a couple K stretch leading towards the double sandbag. And he was, commentators always like, oh, they're sprinting. I'm always like, stop saying that. They're not sprinting. Yeah. He looked like he was borderline, like mile pace. Like almost
doing strides.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I can't comprehend that, especially because he came off of such a grind of a course and his feet touched harder ground. They're like, oh, thank goodness we can just like run 440 pace for a while.
Are you talking about that stretch where it was maybe like a 1% decline, then there was a big dip, and then and he like kind of accelerated right? I remember watching that. I just like shook my head. I'm like, how an hour into the race? And Rich, you're one of the more accomplished like flat ground runners out there. So for you to be saying like that was stupid fast, this was fast.
In comparative to how the race was going, and he was running well, and Eugenio, of course, was out hot
doing his thing.
It looked like they were running well, but I just kind of like glanced, looked away, looked back, and I was like, "What the heck?" I had to check and see if I was at like 1.5 speed.
I've never seen anything like this in 14 years of the sport. We've never seen running like that ever. He ran 30:01 this year in Vaporfly's on a road 10K. And watching that, I thought that's a 28-minute guy. Like that's a 28, 29-minute 10K stride.
Mm.
He might be a better off-road runner than on-road.
I mean, he's won all
Potentially.
these. Yeah, he's sponsored by Hoka, as far as I'm aware.
Yeah, what was on them feet, BK?
Yeah.
This is the hardest year to tell because everyone's Gators game was just on point. They were covered up.
Third time people understand. You couldn't tell at all?
Not on his, no.
That's
What does he
crazy.
run in the past? Does he do something?
Last year, Tecton X2.
Oh, I guess that makes sense. Did he have the 3?
I don't know. Could have.
That would make sense if it's Hoka racing.
I might have taken
wider
the 3 over
platform.
there for this.
Yeah, I mean,
I was thinking, what would I take to this?
You still don't know. This is like the third year you've been. What'd you decide?
I for a beast distance, why not the 3?
Yeah,
unless it's an endorphin or something.
Of the VJ Jones.
There's just a little bit too much nastiness not to take a trail super shoe.
Okay, so what? Can you see these?
Oh, I did. Yo, he's on Solomon now.
Solomon now. Okay.
Who's
yeah,
that?
he ran in those new. Oh man, they're an S-Lab something.
Sorry, there were like 3 pictures in a row of Gregory, and then suddenly there's a woman.
Same shoe though,
and I zoomed. It's the same shoe. Okay,
it is. Even it's a different person.
Look at how wide the bottoms are.
Making a note of that. Crap. They have that wavy bottom, huge max heel.
Yeah, I can't see a model on it, but those are like spread out, big surface area.
So very impressive for Gregory on this. I would not say this is a surprise, right? The surprise that, if we can talk about anything in this event, was the hawk call performance. And this is his first time going over there, and it was something that we had question marks about, right? Is like, okay, we're gonna get to see Gregory versus Hawk, probably 2 best pure runners going head to head in an OCR event. But the desert is just hard to prepare for. That this type of travel is so long and so far that I think we even made it a comment. It's like he's either going to get first, second, or like 15th.
Yeah, you said 14th was.
And
was
where did he? And he ended 23rd. Up in 23rd.
Mm-hmm.
And it looked like he was engaged fairly early, but wasn't necessary. Right? He was kind of in top. He was in top 10,
2 to 4 for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. So was it the sand eventually? And BK, you made an interesting point on this, right? Is that he climbs with such power that he actually does utilize the power that it generates from the ground to move himself forward. In the sand, you don't get any type of that rebound, that response. So one of his biggest weapons was more or less neutralized. And the descending on this is so non-technical that if that would also be an advantage, that also doesn't really lead itself to help a strong descender on a course that's like just sand dunes.
No, he's the boundiest runner we've seen in a while, and he's the boundiest uphill runner I've seen in a long time. You cannot bound in the sand. Even Basilico, who is the prettiest, cleanest runner we may have in the sport, he skips over the sand. He doesn't bound. And historically, people with a lower stride do really well in the sand. Like Sergey is a prime example.
Mm-hmm.
He's a shuffle runner.
Elisa was similar. She doesn't look
Esther last year.
Yeah. You have to be able to pick your feet up and pull them forward, not pound them into the ground. And that was why I asked last episode is he doing Hobie levels of psycho commitment to this, or is it window dressing? Is this like a last 3 to 5 weeks pivot? You can't get ready for sand in 3 to 5 weeks.
How are you even supposed to get ready for sand anyway?
Yeah.
When you're like in Utah. Right? Like he doesn't even have like the sand dune situation that you can kind of access here in Colorado, but like
it's the wrong time of year. I was working with a guy who prepped for this a few years ago, and he planned a big trip to sand dunes in that, Utah, Idaho area. And he got there and they're frozen. It's like running hard trails,
That's awful.
You can run in the shallows to replicate this. That is a tough ask to do in late fall in Utah. It's going to be really, really icy cold. So it's really hard to prep for.
Yeah, Hawk, an hour 3 into the race, he was 11 seconds away from being in second place. He was in 4th place at the time in a pack. He had Thibaut Jean and Eugenio, a couple others with him. And then just the wheels fell off. I think it's just that inexperience. A lot of things went wrong, unfortunately, for him. But he was sticking his nose in there early on.
Yeah. Was he missing obstacles then? Because it looks like up until Olympus, he was still top 10. So maybe was he falling off stuff toward the back?
You didn't
They
even
weren't
see.
focusing on him at that point. Yeah.
I don't know.
But you cramp in the desert.
Yeah.
That's true. That's
Nicole
true.
talked about cramping, like,
Yeah.
and
She cramped on camera.
Yeah. Yep. But yeah, I think it was just kind of lessons learned, and it almost reminds me, self-admittedly, it was the matchup that all of us wanted. Like, we wanted to see Basilico versus Hawk because of their speed, but it reminded me of every time when we're like, we just want to see Albin, and then he comes to elevation and they throw double sandbags, the two things he struggles with the most. So we didn't really get to see Albin a lot of times. So on a neutral course, like put him in trifecta worlds, that might be when we would have got the better, like the true fitness type battle that we would have expected. But Basilico is just unstoppable on this type of terrain.
I had a few takeaways watching this. And my first most important one is that Spartan, for as much as they get it wrong, they accidentally get it right always. And that's what this World Championship was. It's another example of the worst place to test who the best Spartan racer on the planet is. You know, Tahoe is a bad place to test it. The sand dunes of Abu Dhabi is a bad place to test it, but they keep finding the best racer. Like, who won in Tahoe? Cody, Hobie, Ryan Atkins.
But were they
John
going to do that
Allen,
anyway? Because
Robert
fitness?
Killian, right? The best people still end up winning it. And that's what happened here. Like, he's the best in the world right now. Is there a place Hawk could beat him? Yeah, probably. But it would take that place. Gregory can just do pretty much everything, it seems like. And so it still found the right winner of the event, which is bizarre to me.
Bracken, you've seen everybody. Gregory's running. How's it compare? Like, I know that you weren't physically with him in Abu Dhabi seeing that, but you've run side to side with Albin, Hobie, Cody, the best of Max King.
I've never seen more impressive running than him. If you took prime fast Hobie, because we saw different versions of Hobie, but prime fast Hobie,
2:16 marathon shape Hobie,
a little later.
Okay.
He like Gregory translated at a really high level to his off-road. So whenever he peaked in his off-road running, but that and John and Max, I guess, I can't say any of them have an advantage over Gregory. He's that good at running. And what he has that you don't see very often is whenever he hits any terrain that he feels like is his, he surges and he doesn't seem to pay for it, except a little bit at that double sandbag carry, a lot of it at that double sandbag. But other than that,
he was already up. He was already up quite a bit too.
He's comfortable surging crazy all race anytime. And then it strikes you as, is he actually surging or is he just returning
just running
to his running?
BK, what's the equivalent 30 flat 10K for a marathon?
30 flat 10K? That's 220.
2:18:21.
That seems wrong.
That seems that almost would have been Olympic trials qualifying, but 30 flat isn't. That seems too fast for 30 flat.
Take it
What's
up
the
with
Olympic
Jack Daniels.
trials qualifier for the 10K?
It's like 28:30 probably.
It's below that now.
No. Oh yeah, because they made all the revisions with the super
27:45 or something like that.
Yeah.
Take it up with Jack Daniels. Not me.
So I disagree.
You don't think he could run 2:18?
He ran a 65 mid for half marathon, which is what
so what's the problem?
Now that's almost a qualifier.
65 flat, I would say, can be a 2:18.
Yeah, this says 60. It says a 30 flat 10K is a 66:02.
Yeah. So he gets better.
Yes.
Yeah, I think he can run.
Maybe he's like a 2:15.
I think he can run 2:18. The difference is he's as good off road as he is on, and that's rare.
Could anybody on this particular course, you take every single athlete in their prime, could Gregory have been beaten this year in Abu Dhabi?
Yeah. Yeah, because they don't have to beat him. They just have to be within 3 minutes of him at the start of the double sandbag, and they can beat him.
And he can miss obstacles.
Mm-hmm.
He will certainly do that.
I mean, great. Heineck only lost by what, 80 seconds?
That is a true testament to like the field closed. You're right about that. But it's kind of like one of those games where you get a touchdown in garbage time, and instead of a 14-point win at 7, it's like this doesn't tell the story. Gregory was up 4 minutes, an hour and a half in. he was the best racer out there.
He
No
was.
disrespect to anybody who, closed the gap after he ended up falling off the rig, but it's like the race was a blowout for the most part.
All it would have taken, though, is one person in history capable of running within 2 minutes of him prior to that sandbag? And I think the answer is yes.
Okay.
Could have been beaten, but man, to do it is another thing.
Mhm. So Gregory was, as expected, dominant pretty much from the jump outside of Eugenio, just crushing that first
I told
4
you
to
he
800.
led that 3K. He led
He's
that.
like, he's like, I'm not letting that, what happened in that 3K happen to me at this beast. Never mind.
I think he thought it was
gonna
a
bottleneck.
3K.
Hold up. Was Basilico wearing, I know we have the question, Sebastian Iverson in the hybrid space. Was Basilico wearing a shooting sleeve? Did he have one arm sleeve on?
He did. It was white.
He had one.
Yeah.
So what?
It's kind of like Batras, who wears one calf sleeve, but like the one arm sleeve, I don't understand the purpose of that.
What's Basilico's player comp if he were an NBA player, based on how he races?
I mean,
Darren Fox.
Darren Fox. I was gonna say Steph because he's the best, but small, big engine. Steph wears the leggings, not the arm sleeve.
yeah.
Is he AI? He doesn't have that kind of attitude.
No, he is not AI. No.
He doesn't have that kind of attitude. But I like the look. I think the shooting sleeve makes sense. And you just burn it.
Is he like Victor because he's the best, like skill set wise?
Now,
Wemby's
Sergey always
Skinny?
wore
And he's
two.
skinny.
French?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a great. Yeah, French.
No, Tony Parker. All right, done.
Okay. All right.
So yeah, does he just get sunburn on one arm? Jack, is that something that can happen?
Oh man, no. Your skin is pretty identical throughout the body. I can tell you from experience.
Well, it depends what side the sun's on. Maybe he swapped arms.
Maybe he did. Maybe he understood.
Okay. We need to rewatch the race.
Maybe he has a fresh tattoo.
Left side.
Maybe
he's hiding track marks. We don't know.
Maybe he is. But I thought that shit was fly. Eugenio had both arms covered, which again, awesome.
Do you want to know the story of Eugenio's race? So I was so impressed with how he was able to bounce back. He started off in first at inverted wall, like 10 minutes in, rope wall, dropped to fifth, eventually moved his way back up into second at a certain point, like an hour and a half into the race, and then ended up finishing eighth as he missed his spear and stuff. But just like being able to come back from all those, getting broken, I was very impressed despite the foolish strategy.
Lauren Griffith style.
Player comp?
Player comp.
We might be watching year 2 Ryan Woods right now.
For Eugenio?
Yeah.
Was that what Woods would do that?
Oh, he was so
Woods
good.
was really
before he figured out double sandbag and stuff.
He was the longest timeline we've ever seen from someone who showed flash till becoming like a pro. He stuck around and stuck around and stuck around, and then finally for a little bit was unbeatable. I think we might be seeing this. He seems like the type who is committed and is going to stick around. If he figures it out, he's the only one that can run with everyone in the sport.
He was like a 149 800 runner. So like that's basically sub 4 minute mile equivalent. So he's got wheels.
He's Jared Newby, south of the border.
Easy.
Yeah.
He's
Newby was
under
30.01.
He's under 35, so he does still have some years remaining, which is
if he figures it out a little bit.
Yeah.
You can't come back to second place an hour after fading in this race without being the real deal.
Yeah.
Not on this terrain.
Is he ever going to change his pacing? Or is that just kind of what's made him successful in the
He definitely has to.
He has
to change it a little bit.
What if he's just that much better?
He's not. He got 8.
Is he that much better than Basilico, or is he just as good as Basilico and you don't try to break him in the first 8 minutes? Maybe you're like, I'll shadow him for a little bit.
Maybe he is as good as Peter Saniga and needs to chill out so he can finish in 4th, not 8th.
I'm saying he didn't do it because of his pacing.
If
your pacing was off, you don't regain second place.
I guess that's true.
It could be a little off.
It's off.
And you don't try to rein in a stallion.
He tried to take it right to him. He wasn't trying to rein him in or nothing.
Love it.
Like,
it's like the middle school method. Nick Riker is a track coach in middle school. It's like you don't have your kids set a 400-meter PR on the opening lap of a mile. Like you got to slow down. That's the mentality he's got right now. He's got to just slow it down, a little more even pacing.
If he's a 149 guy, he knows how to run.
True.
I know.
He might have been running at threshold.
He just he doesn't know how to do it until lactic takeover. So he gets
right.
there real quick.
Yep.
Yeah.
And he's like, okay, now I can operate.
We
Does,
also do forget that our running is very slow. That if you do bring a really high level runner in, they
Yeah.
can comfortably lead a race until they crack.
For sure. He was probably chilling. He probably was chilling the first whenever he
Yeah.
had it. I have a segment idea for later. I don't think we're prepared for this today.
Okay.
But we should rank all of the world championships that were won this year in order of in how impressive it is.
Prestige. Well, we still have one more this weekend in Dubai.
That's going to be like old school 2.5 hour episode.
That's just
forever.
This one this weekend, we'll get to it, but you just can't throw world championship on everything.
So the
expect it to
title,
be.
Yes, you
the
can.
title is the Dubai World Obstacle Championship. So I don't think they're calling it a world championship. I think the world is in the brand title where it's the Dubai Championship by World Obstacle, essentially. That's how I'm interpreting it.
Okay.
I don't think they're claiming to be a world championship. I think they're saying we have a bunch of money, we want the best of the best there, but it's not a world championship.
But if you
Just
say
have that
world
exclusion.
obstacle
I know,
championship,
I know.
you can't
It's
be
a
like,
bad
we never
name.
claimed we were a world championship.
They'll say in like
But it sounds like it, guys.
They'll say on the IG post, they'll call it world champion or whatever. And just
Brand confusion. Yeah.
But let's rank them all.
I like that idea. We can do that in some future episode. So yeah, back to what we just witnessed in Abu Dhabi. Who else impressed you in the top 10, or what stood out on the men's side?
Well, I don't know. Do we want to take it to the women's? Is there anything on your mind, Jack? There's anybody here that
I mean,
is
Thibaut Jean getting third place. That was legit. He's previously, like, I think he and Gregory live in the same town in France, and he's previously podiumed at European Championship a couple times. Like, we knew he's a threat in the mountains, but there are several athletes who are threats in the mountains who didn't do well at this particular course. So I think he rose to the equation. Another guy from France, David Labrosse. What happened?
You just invented a new phrase, and Rich and I are impressed.
Yeah, it's a
Rose to
math
the equation.
Okay. I believe it's
equation. Occasion. Yeah. My bad.
That's all you. He rose to
I'll take it. I'll take it. There we go. We
cell
got Jack's butt and
equation
rose to the
and
equation. So
everything is in Excel
yeah.
format for Jack.
That's when you meet the
Equals.
proper math challenge. You rose to the equation.
I like it. Yeah. I'll copyright that one pretty soon.
You're gonna make dozens of dollars.
Yeah. Probably none. But another guy, David Labrosse, he ended up being second place, like an hour and a half into the race, right before the double sandbag. Previously, he's if we're looking at national series, he had a podium in Italy, in Germany, and then just another one. He hasn't been like a podium threat even in European national series throughout the years. He's had, I think, about 6 at larger races. And we just saw him at Trifecta Worlds. He got 3.54, which was like, he was definitely on the right trajectory. But to find yourself in second place at a world championship, 30 minutes from the finish line, I did not foresee that. So he has really improved this year.
And visually, he was the second best looking athlete out there. In fact, in that stretch from double sandbag on, he looked better than Gregory did.
And he threw a surge also.
Yep. Yeah. He looked really compact and clean running through things that are anything but.
Mm-hmm. Yep. And then the other guy, I did a jersey swap with him at Gov Games last year, 4th place, Jan Vladar. Pumped to see him do that.
Wow. How sunburnt were you by the time that jersey swap was complete?
Right?
Are you kidding? I did that in my hotel. I wasn't doing that outside.
We're gonna do this, but we gotta.
Yeah, we gotta wait till like after.
It's good. It's smart in Dubai so that you can protect yourself from the sun and also from the authorities. Jack being arrested over there.
Exactly.
Because if he takes that shirt off, people are gonna notice. Like, oh, what?
It is very bright.
That's obscene.
Yeah.
On to the women's race. Elisa Petrova takes the win in 2:22.58. Nicole Miracle finishes in second in 2:30.19. That's a gap and a half. Zuzana Kakamova was 2:31.
What's her name?
Kokomova? Kokuma? What is that?
Kokomo, basically.
Yeah. You said like Kakamova.
The Kakamori.
What is that?
It's like a TS.
Doesn't matter what you call her. She's the queen of OCR sand running.
Yeah.
Sabrina Dalio. And then the other name I don't know here. Svetlana Filipovic.
Filipovic. Yeah.
So this was a good battle for about an hour.
Great battle. Was it a battle, or did she just hang on her?
It seems like
I
she was
think
just kind of sitting on her.
Nicole must have been mad. Like, just do some work. Just stop shadowing.
That's not a thing in sand running.
And then, well, if like it's not like she outkicked her in the last 100 meters. It was she beat her by 8 minutes.
That's true. And like on some cargo net crawls, they were side by side various points. But it seemed like I don't know if Nicole was two-stepping her like just to be ahead of her, or if Elisa was like, I'm just gonna stay behind you, and then when I feel good, I'm going.
I took it as Nicole was two-stepping. Every time Elisa ran the downhills better, and the up, she hiked the sand better, and Nicole would outrun her. And so the gap would close, and then Nicole would just like not let a lead even enter Elisa's realm until it was over.
We famously did not get to see Alula. So when this was the same order as the that race in the sand earlier this year. So they have some familiarity with each other in terms of racing at the front. Do you think that was deliberate on either end? Or do we know how Alula kind of played out? Was it the same kind of thing? Like Alyssa just kind of moved away from her?
Led for a long time in Alula.
Nicole cracked and then kind of came back. But Nicole was leading until like 65, 70 miles, or not K, not miles at that point.
This was one of those examples of someone that's so clean and efficient that when they're not, it's really penalizing. If that makes sense. Like we saw her cramp for the first time in a while. She just has such a compact, crisp, clean stride that there's visually, I can't tell what's actually happening, but visually it looks like maybe it never really even gets taken to a certain spot where it's overly stressed to the point of cracking, and the sand gets her there. It gets almost everyone there. Elisa just has the ability to withstand the sand. She never picked it up. She just didn't ever fade.
How many days a week you think she trains on the sand? Like when she's in Abu Dhabi peak season, like she has access to this more than pretty much anybody. It shows.
Is this the single most important type of terrain to train on? Like, can you make up the biggest amount of gap on someone in sand compared to any other form of running?
The other option, you can think
it
altitude,
changes your stride.
You could think super
terrain.
You could put a governor on altitude and do fine. Like it's still, fire roads or
snow.
You could become a monster uphill in 1 day a week, or downhill 1 day a week. Rocky terrain 1 day a week. Sand,
bushwhacking.
I don't know.
Maybe like a really bushwhacky course.
Maybe, yeah.
But you're probably not training through that a ton because you get cut up so much, and you're like, I'm just good at it or not.
I mean, yeah, you might be right, and we've seen it twice now. And Alyssa this is her 4th year that she's landed on the podium in sand, and not including Alula. So maybe, but she also is just really good, right?
She's also very good.
Yeah, Elisa in 2021, she got 3rd place in the Beast, and then 2022 she was 3rd place in the Super. Last year she didn't run the Beast, but she only ran the 3K and she got 2nd here. Now she is 1st. So sand podium lock so far at World Championships. All distances, 3K through Beast.
Did Sergey finish?
He DNF'd. He was actually on camera recording her like at some point later in the race.
Gotcha. Yeah, but I mean, it just seemed the pass that she made just seemed natural. Didn't seem like she had to do anything out of the ordinary. And then getting to how much gap did she have on Zuzana when she got to the sandbag? Because that would be the main person. Because Nicole 10. At that point probably was headed backwards, right?
Plate drag, Elisa was 2:02.56. Zuzana was 2:08.50. So about 6 minutes right there at plate drag, which was in the middle of sandbag. We didn't really get a good visual on a lot of. I wish we saw people breaking and stuff, but I think that
she put
carried it. Yeah, I think they double carried, dropped it, put it in the plate drag, pulled it back, and then had to lift up a double sandbag again and finish the loop. From what
it's a cool wrinkle.
I like it because it forces you to do double sandbag basically.
Yeah.
Although you only had to pull it one direction. It was
Yeah.
weird. You pulled the
The sled
sled to
drag?
you, dropped it in there, and then pulled it back.
Huh.
At least that's how
Oh,
they had Gregory do
it was empty.
empty to you. Or I mean, there could have been something at the bottom that we couldn't see. But you only loaded your sandbags for the drag back.
And a typical sled drag, you pull it and then you pull it with the long rope and then you drag it back with the short rope, right?
And that's what they did here. Yeah.
It's creative though. I like it.
You
It is
pulled it
creative.
empty to you.
And
They had that in the Ultra at Tahoe.
That would be
brought your double
easier.
sandbag to it. Or regular sandbag.
It would be easier on sand, right, than on typical like a
Uneven,
New
hard
Jersey
ground.
or something. Yeah, like gravel, like roots and stuff,
Raw.
mud.
Yeah. I mean, you're always going to be able to smooth it out on the way back. Like it's,
It should be able to move always, right?
yeah.
If it's
should.
loose, I mean, if it's soft sand, it's tough. But the hardest part is that your feet move too when you go to plant into the ground.
True.
Kind of, I think it evens out.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, Elisa, unbelievably impressive. Bracken, I've got a quote from you from the episode.
I don't like it.
We were, well, here's what you said. If you
Pulling
ran this,
transcripts.
yeah, no, I just heard this. I typed it. If you ran this race in a simulator 1,000 times for men's and women's, and you could just keep plugging in different styles of OCR, Nicole wins 99% of them. That's what you said pre-race.
There's always a chance.
That's why you run the race.
Yeah. And this is sand is that variable.
Yep.
Yeah.
But we have seen Nicole, like even in Costa Rica, that wasn't sand. That was.
It's true. It's true. And she proved to be a very good sand runner. Like she never gapped Elisa, but they dropped everyone pretty quickly.
And Nicole was struggling with cramps and stuff. Like she hung on. She did really
came
well.
back well. That was
And
the
she
most
came-
impressive thing she did is she came back.
Yeah, on Susanna.
What happened with Ulrike?
Didn't feel it. And she knew it wasn't her race like an hour in, and she dropped out, and she's doing the Dubai World Obstacle this weekend.
Torpedoed my fantasy.
I don't think anybody had a shot against my team. I never had a single athlete outside the top 9 at any checkpoint in the race. I was beating you guys no matter what.
Jack, you pay attention to European OCR like, I don't know, 7,000 times more than anybody else in the world. You better
Probably.
freaking win.
I better win, yeah.
When it comes to this.
Yeah.
The Sabrina Dalio pick was the one.
You had a chance.
I know.
You let her go by.
I just forgot who she was because I
Yeah,
see her name and I've never seen her in person.
Hey,
Ishmael was doing so well for so long.
I was like, he's the real deal. Oh my God. Like he's 30 minutes in second place. I'm like, okay, you can't fake that. And
Wild card, baby.
Yeah. And then he's like,
What'd he finish?
I'll DNF.
Ivano's all right too. Not as good as
Yeah.
Sandy. But
Ivana
still
had a
pretty
good
good.
race.
Still pretty good.
Sandy did well in the sand.
Yeah, I mean, the second year in a row that she had done well there. And Esther just kind of continuing her season of just like
What's going on?
Not up to her standard. She must be fighting some sort of injury or something because her fitness is clearly not what it has been the past 2 years or so. Last year when she was basically the best in the world on the same type of course. Not a world champion, but best in the world. So yeah, so that's a head scratcher. Viola out there, 15th. That seems normal. That seems fine. She probably pulled that sled really well.
So right now, is she the most versatile
She's number 2
/ OCR? It's got to be.
Yeah,
Lauren Weeks.
Lauren Weeks gets better.
In power rankings, yes. Because Lauren's outside of the window, our statute of limitations.
3 months.
But it's a good question. How many athletes could go top 15 in both sports?
Like probably Chris, Lauren, and Viola. Like Viola had a good performance.
Well, you're forgetting one.
Lauren, Viola.
Men's or you count men's too?
I'm talking Ida.
Oh,
Ida.
absolutely. Yeah. No,
Of course.
Spaced on that one. Yeah.
And then
She might be the overall.
Yeah,
now.
I was going to
Now
say
she's
she
leveled up
probably
in Hyrox.
will win if you add the 2 places together.
But in the men's side, how many can go top 15 in both?
Basilico's not getting elite 15 in High Rocks.
No, he ain't.
I still think
None of these guys are. It'd have to be
maybe not in his current body, but Ryan Kent.
Kent. I was saying this. I was thinking the same
Kent
thing.
would be good in the sand, I believe.
He's got a good stride
Shuffling
for
along.
that. Yeah. I think
Hunter
Ryland
might have a
would've
hard
done
time
well.
in sand.
He beat Cody in like Las Vegas and stuff. Like in
He's
sand.
he's
just
always
good.
shocked me on bad terrain.
Yeah, he would just
Yeah.
be good.
Yeah.
Again, not in his current body. But if everyone trained for both, I think Kent and Hunter. Could you, Rich?
I don't think I would do very well in sand. And OCR is stupid, so I would probably
What about
fail some
Pelayo?
stuff. And
Is he ever going to try an OCR race?
I don't think so.
Could he?
Could he try it?
Can he prance on technical terrain?
I don't know. I don't think
All
he'd
right.
want to.
Maybe it's just visually, but like Eugenio looks pretty thick. Like he reminds me of Isaiah. Like, could he, if he stepped into High Rocks like a few races in, he'll probably run a 65 his first time, whatever. But like, does he have potential?
If he runs 65 the first time, he has potential.
No way. He goes out way too hard, doesn't know how to ski.
That's okay.
Hits the first two runs hard. He's running like 74.
Okay.
What if he went down to
It's buried.
Texas with you, Kent, and Nick Bear for a 3-week intensive?
Then he's like 61 probably.
Right
Easily.
away.
Right. So for a future
Heineck.
episode, when we rank all the championships, I want us to rank the theoretical two-sport athletes
All right.
in
How about-
history.
In history.
Like
We can
Isaiah's in
theoretical.
there, and
Yeah,
everyone
yeah.
at their
Kemp-
peak in both.
Kempson, yeah.
Which Kempson?
Matt. He made finals at TMX and stuff. Like,
Did you ever go top 20 at Spartan Worlds?
Probably right around there.
Maybe a
I thought he was
Killington
up
year?
there. I thought he was up there for a couple.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And my other guy, Richard Heineck, how do you think he'd do?
Not well.
Oh well, okay.
I think I finished
seemed-
23rd one time at Spartan Worlds. Jack, is that true?
You?
Yeah.
I'll have to pull it up. You were in the mid-20s.
I think I was low 20s one year.
Okay.
Generally 30s.
Yeah.
Long tights, long sleeves.
Probably windbreaker,
Oh,
and that's it. No base layer,
I like
just
that.
windbreaker. Yeah, and it was
All
white
right.
too, so you could see
I
right
hope
through
it was long.
We've got a Rich Ryan finishing 27th in 2019.
I thought it was
20
22.
30-30 club.
Yeah.
You and Jameis.
I don't see you in and this is just on the Spartan.
I did not do
race
18.
profile. 2017 33rd.
You moved up.
And 2016 36. So yeah,
You were trending.
peaked out 20.
You're going to be top 25.
Take off like 4 or 5 every single year. You were going to be like Kirk DeWint in a couple of years.
Kirk was my compass in
Yeah.
in Spartan Race. Are we ready to do the Power 11 final power? Or I guess we could do the Power 11 for this.
We didn't mention
race.
we didn't mention Zuzana at all. That's the
Mhm.
only other athlete I think that absolutely is worth mentioning. She was in second place in the rig, and then
Second place at the spear throw.
She blew that opportunity at the spear. She rushed that so unnecessarily.
You know what? Everyone says that, and I don't buy it. Your routine's your routine. When you miss it, your routine gets criticized. But if she had sat there and stared at it and missed it, we would have said the same thing. She stepped up and she took the moment and she went for it. And she's just not good at the spear.
Yeah,
But I don't doubt. I do not knock her routine.
I think if she just set herself for 2 seconds, she doesn't need to do the Rose Wetzel, hang on to it for 20 seconds. Nicole had barely yanked it out of the wall. She wasn't in a setup, and then Nicole might have had to rush like that. And I just think that she went just a little too fast, and all that she had to do was basically hang on for 8 seconds of a cushion if she makes it, and a Z wall, and then sprint to the fire. I think she had second place locked up, in my opinion.
BK's pro fast spear throw.
I'm pro routine. I don't think we would tell someone to change their free throw routine based on the score of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Your routine's your routine. And when it doesn't work, it looks really dumb. When Gilbert Arenas missed a free throw, he looked like an idiot because he went behind his back.
Is that what he would do? The
He'd
kid
wrap it around once.
shuffles his shoulder.
Yeah.
Do Giannis hang on to it for like 12 seconds.
Right. And then when he misses, the whole state of Wisconsin's like, man, just shoot the ball in rhythm. But when he makes it, he's like, look at that. He got dialed.
Came
got
through
it.
in the finals.
Yeah.
So,
But that doesn't take away from the fact that Zuzana at 45 years old is still 2 races. She was seconds away from Nicole, who we've considered for many years, besides Lindsay, the best OCR athlete on the planet. And what she's doing at this age still against a really deep field is super impressive.
Mm-hmm.
what number of times has she been on the podium now, Jack?
I've got a stat for that if you want me to
Is it race brain teaser time?
It's more of an infographic.
Oh.
Unless you want me to make it into a stat.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is the only difference that you don't flash the answer until we guess?
Yeah, exactly.
You could just ask.
Yeah,
us
it's a
and-
teaser.
Yeah. It's a teaser. All right. So there are. Okay, what would you say? Podium?
Podium.
On the women's side, there are 6 women with at least 3 Spartan Race World Championship podiums. Name them.
3 you're saying? So
There are 6 separate women with
With
3
three.
or 3 plus podiums at Spartan Race World Championship. And I'm not counting
Easy ones.
trifecta or ultra.
Lindsay.
Nicole, Lindsay, and Susanna. We can just
Yep, Nicole actually only has 3.
all right, well that counts.
And then Susanna has 6 now. 6 podiums. And Lindsay has 9, so that's not getting caught.
Whew.
Who are the other 3?
How many did Faye was on was that just
Faye
once?
Stenning only had 1. She has 3 top 5s though.
Ah.
I'm spitballing, I'm not guessing. Jack.
2 of them were in this race.
In this race,
Spartan Race World
Spartan
Championships.
race.
could
Yep.
it be Esther?
Esther has 3.
Okay. And this
Are
would be
you counting the Beast World Championship last year?
No, this athlete next didn't even run that race.
Okay.
was it Alyssa then?
Elisa Petrova has 4 Spartan Race World Championship podiums
In a row, right?
In a row. Only Lindsay and Susanna have more than her. I think it's it's time to start talking about her as one of the all-time greats.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Well, we'll be able we'll
Yep.
update our rankings at some point here in the next
Yep.
couple of weeks.
And the other one is Claude Gobu, who has 3. I'll do a screen share. Just
BK throws that out. He's like, no
Yeah.
chance.
no chance.
Where was the
let-
third?
Where was the third?
Just 3 straight Killingtons?
Killingtons. Yeah.
Uh,
All right. Let me.
why would
share
I throw
this.
that out?
You always are like, nah.
Okay. So
I'm
right
on
here,
Team Cloud.
I'm not
check.
sure.
You guys see this screen?
We see it.
All right. So here's like this column right here. Here's how many wins they have, top 3, top 5, top 10, etc. So yeah, Elisa, look at her resume now. She's only done 4 ever, and all 4 of them were on the podium. She was denied the chance to race at Tahoe earlier in her career just because of visa issues, and we saw that with Trifecta Worlds as well earlier this year. If she had the opportunity to race more frequently against the best in the sport, she might have been, she could have been second, third on this list realistically.
She might wind up there.
I know. I don't think Lindsay's getting touched. That 10 for 10 in the top 5. Her only
we
miss
can carve
was
her in. Yeah.
was
How old
her
is
upper
Elisa?
early 30s, I believe.
She is 30s.
Yeah. Esther, she's got a solid resume as well. Obviously, we know what Amelia did, but we're looking at some elite company for Elisa Petrova right here.
And it helps that she, for this race in particular, she beat Nicole Miracle, former champion. She beat Susanna, former world champion.
Yep.
Esther, who has been on the podium so many times. So this is like a good field.
Definitely.
Where a lot of times now in these races, we're like, yeah, but what does
Yep.
it really mean? This is pretty
Yeah.
undeniable.
Well, that was another thing that I was going to show. So if we look at some graphs, so this is Abu Dhabi on the women's side. I'll go to the men's after when we're talking about those. But here's the percent of winner. So this thicker green one is this past year. So you might have like a little bit closer finishes at the front, but that just kind of means that there wasn't a blowout. Like what Elisa did is kind of crazy. But if we're looking at in terms of like the all-time deepest, closest races, it's in line with what we were seeing at Tahoe, which is pretty impressive.
Well, I'll take your word for it. These mean nothing to me.
It just looks like
Bunch of
Ghostbusters
all right.
crossing the streams.
Yeah. So how about this bracket? Blue means they're close. Red means that they're far, right? Or that there was a big gap. And you can see Abu Dhabi on 2024 on this level is pretty similar to the years that we were at Tahoe. Does that make sense for the top 10?
Oh yeah. What about percent of male winner this year?
Got that right here.
Oh,
so
thank goodness.
Yep. So this graph right here on the men's side, you can see definitely the deepest men's race so far at Abu Dhabi in terms of like more
This
people
year?
towards the front, in terms of people closer to the front.
Okay.
Yeah, the 3K.
Last year in Abu Dhabi.
Yeah, in Abu Dhabi. Abu
Okay.
Dhabi only. Yeah, but here's this line right here just shows Abu Dhabi, but compared to like Tahoe 2019, Tahoe 26, it's actually pretty comparable. So
Okay.
it's a good year.
You
I
missed
won't
me though.
show-
What I meant is female time % of male winner.
Oh, I don't have that prepared.
Gotcha.
Get that time calculator out.
I should do it. But instead of doing another race brain teaser, let's just look at the men's side. So Gregory Basilico is moving up there right now. Now he's got 3 podiums. Sergey's got a couple. But if we're looking at some of the all-time greats, Hunter only had 1. Heineck just got his first one ever. Bracken Crocker right there.
Hey,
Damn.
17, just right where it
Yeah.
belongs.
Yeah, but Ryan Woods never had a podium and only one. He ran 5 Spartan Race World Championships. Only 4 times he was in the top 20. Only 1 time in the top 5. So like John Yatsko, only 1
Got
time.
Alec Blennis on
like
this list.
I've got what?
Alec Blennis on there. Like, whoa.
I know.
That's right.
These are early days. Albert Soleil, Ryan Kent, like only a couple times in the top 10. He was like 6th a couple times, 6th through 8th. But Gregory Basilico, 4 top 5 finishes in his career. He's in some elite company right here.
I like it.
Yep.
Ready for Power 11?
Let's do it.
Power 11.
Let's pull this thing up. Power 11 are our power rankings. I believe we set up some sort of it needs to be a 12-week window in which they would have had to perform in some kind of race, and recency takes priority when if we're needing like a tiebreaker. All right, let's pull her up. I'm glad we have some standards here that we can figure it out. Makes sense. All right. Previous rankings, I didn't date it. I should have dated it, but I don't know when we did that. When did we do this? This must have been after
OCR Worlds probably.
Yeah.
Because
So-
Eugenio's on here. So that's like October.
All right. So that works well. So now we're in December.
Yeah.
Steen Legrand was number 1. Do we put Gregory over Steen for this?
Yeah.
I don't see how you can't right now. Like what's more recent, Croatia or
How come those
Or-
dudes didn't come out to this? Is it just too long?
no, he's able to do that. He's run like 30 mid, I believe, maybe 31 flat for a 10K. Like, and he's done beast. But I think he's doing both of those races in Dubai this weekend, the 2,500 meter and the 5K.
Great. That's exactly why we need more world championships so that we can
Yep.
just divert the freaking competition to different places.
Yeah.
Sick.
But I would say Gregory's got to be number 1 at this point after how dominant he looked.
Next on this list really makes sense. So Steen's going to move to 2. Yesa is 3. And I guess we can't really penalize him for not showing up to this. And who was second place just this weekend?
Richard Heineck. I
Oh,
think he's got a strong case moving into second right there after
No.
what he's
you
done.
think so? All the way to second?
What do you do at Trifecta? World
Uh,
Championship.
Yeah, I gotta look that up.
He was also second, right?
Gregory won, and I think that Heineck was number 2.
Bless you.
Man.
Good catch. So do we want to put Richard Heineck at 2, or is he below Yesa?
I mean, Heineck won the sprint and got second in the Super and the Beast at Trifecta Worlds, and he got second at this World Championship. Yesa wasn't second at Croatia, and he hasn't raced since then. So I think you got to put Heineck.
So at least third.
2
Yeah.
or 3.
Stein and Basilico. Stein beat Richard head to head in Croatia, and he won. the
And
overall
yes,
race.
and like
And I'm
Stein
cool with that.
has won championships, right? It's hard to put someone in second in front of
Yeah.
somebody who's won a world championship. So I'm okay with this. Hot call has to drop. Hawk
I
has to
know.
drop.
He's got to be
Um,
below Eugenio because he just lost head to head right there.
What else do we have on the? Are there any other like is Tebow?
Thibaut Jean just got 3rd. I think he's got to go up.
Is he on here? So
Yeah.
are we putting Tebow behind Yessa?
So Tebow had a rough trifecta world championship, 18, 7, and 7 in those three individual events. But
What
he
was
got
the overall?
7.
7.
Yeah. And then, but he ended up getting 3rd place in Abu Dhabi. And he was 2nd place at the Ultra World Championship. That doesn't matter. He was 2nd place behind Basilico in several National Series races as well. 2nd place at the European Regional Championship, which is within the past 3 months.
I'm okay with him 5th.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's good enough to move him up in this place right here.
When was the last time Balin raced?
Seattle in September. And then he kind of had some issue with the terrain there. I think he got like an infection or something, had to take some time off. Ron
Other
just got
names,
hurt.
Jan Vidar and
Jan Vladar, yeah. Peter
Saniga.
David Labros.
What are we doing with all them?
But I think Jan getting 4th place, he wasn't too far off the podium. It was basically a spear throw away. He's got to make his way in the conversation. He was ahead of Igor. I think he's got to be.
Who on this list has
Somewhere
not raced
here.
in the 12-week window?
I think Balin's out then, right?
That
right
was
around it?
mid-September. I think he's within 12 weeks. Like
Okay.
if it was 13, it'd probably be out. Yeah, Jan getting 4th place at Worlds. He got 4th place at a National Series in Malta and 12th at the European. He just really
So he'd be
punched above his
6th?
weight. I mean, he beat Hawk head to head. He's beaten VJ in Abu Dhabi before. Like he's got some serious ability there, and he delivered. So yeah,
All right.
Igor
did not race that well here, right? Did he
Brent-
do?
Brendan beat Igor. Oh,
And Brendan finished 12th.
yeah.
Well, I think we got to have Eugenio now. Like here?
I mean, Peter Saniga beat him, so I'd have a strong case for Peter on this list.
All right. Is that what we want to do? We
Yeah.
feeling good about that, BK?
I mean, yeah,
Saniga
Peter was
7, are you saying?
Peter was 5th at European Champs, 5th in Croatia, and he got 6, 12, 12 in Trifecta Worlds and 5th at Spartan Worlds. That's
Eugenio was a world
Behind him.
champ.
But
And
Eugenio just
8th.
lost head to head to Peter.
True. Is OCR Worlds in our 12-week window?
Should be.
Yeah.
So do a bunch of 5s and 6s outweigh a 1?
But the 1
is a world champion.
I know. But who's to say that he wouldn't have won OCR Worlds if he showed up because he just
we can't play
Eugenio.
that game.
I know.
I'm having formatting issues.
It's all good. Click backspace a few times and it'll recreate the list. There you go. I'd go Peter ahead of Eugenio. Personally.
He got
Rich,
boned.
you do the tiebreaker right there.
It'd be a different thing if you beat him for a podium. But
Yeah, Eugenio with the, I mean, that 15K.
I don't put as much weight into it this year.
I would put that as like when we're ranking our top 30 best.
Like we don't have Leon on the
this
list
year.
right now, and he won the 3K.
I agree. And they just raced. Yeah, I'm putting Peter up there. Okay. Who else? Yours 15th. Anyone else?
LeBros had a really good Croatia, and he just got 9th here.
I'd put Labros 11th.
Get him on the list.
Out.
Yeah.
Yep, and he ends the list.
Okay. And then everybody else is out. Labros with a 9th place finish. That would then bump.
So Hawk.
Luca Pescolderone.
Yeah. Hawk has only done 2 races this year.
Should he be off the list?
Yeah, he did Big Bear and Utah. Utah being in
that's off.
July.
You
can't, after what we saw, like it's what it is.
Is anyone 11 through 14, do they deserve to be above Balin?
Yeah, that's a good point. If we're looking at trifecta worlds, Labros David got third in the sprint, fifth, and then fourth in the super and the beast. And
For trifecta?
yeah, trifecta worlds. So
Oh, yeah.
he's got to be on this list. Angel finished within a place of him, but Angel was in the teens in Abu Dhabi, so I would say he probably can't be on it.
Leaving Frank on here.
Does
Yeah,
anyone
that's
deserve
it.
to have 11 more than Frank?
Frank,
There we go.
as Jack tries to say, be fancy. I'm cool with this list. We need to wrap this up in 10 seconds.
It's reasonable. Let's go.
All right. Sustained.
On to the women. The major shakeup, we had Nicole at the top for good reason, as she's been fairly dominant until this race here. So Elisa has to take over that top position, as the top three women had all raced head to head. So
Yep.
Elisa at the top.
I think 1 through 3 are perfect.
Now it gets a little tricky.
Second,
Elisa
I'd put Sabrina because she got second in all 3 races at Trifecta Worlds and fourth at Abu Dhabi. Sabrina
goes to
D'Alio.
4.
Yeah, I think that is fair.
Does Ulrike have anything in the 12-week window?
I'll look her up.
Because she dropped out of a race that she was supposed to be in.
Her wow. Okay, so all the Ulrike has done is Morzine in July, and then she kind of had her body gave up on her during the summer, and she took some time off. But FISO, that was like August roughly, so that's out.
So she's out. Wow. Okay.
I think it's like Hawk. What have you done for me lately?
Solely because of our 12-week window rule.
Yeah.
Who was podium at Trifecta?
Sabrina ended up getting second in all 3 races. Let me see.
Sabrina was second. Oh, she's definitely
second in all 3 distances. Jolanta,
just give me the.
I don't have it filtered out right now. I'm trying to
just the beast.
I only have
filter. This is
I only
our
have athletes
weekly,
who raced in Abu Dhabi pulled up.
Our weekly reminder that people don't understand how power rankings work. It's not historical past 12 weeks. It's just right now in this snapshot of time. That's it.
That's it. If they raced, what happened most recent in the most recent race, basically? Like, who'd you pick in a race that happens like yesterday or today?
If they won 50 straight races and the last one was 13 weeks ago and they haven't raced since, they're not on the list because it's not in our current 12-week window. It's no insult on anyone who's not on here based off time. They're not in the 12 weeks. They cannot qualify.
All right. Our answer is Klara Lukajikova.
She was
3rd place at Trifecta and on the podium at Croatia.
Okay, so she needs to be either
she's got to be
Sabrina.
She's number
or
8 right
behind.
now.
Yeah, so she's moving up.
She goes to 5
for
5
now.
5.
Yeah.
Lauren's out, right?
She's
Seattle
technically
is
in
still
Seattle
within the window.
Okay, nice.
Technically, yeah.
But she can drop.
And then any other notables from Trifecta that were not at...
Yeah, I think a new athlete from Poland, Jolanta Papior. So she was 6th place in Abu Dhabi, and she had a 4th and a 5th place finish at Trifecta Worlds. So
what was she overall at Trifecta? Do you know?
I have to pull this up.
Beatrice Moyen Silvestri
She got 5th in the beast, so probably 5th overall.
Okay.
Is that put her in front of Beatrice, who was
OCR Worlds?
OCR Worlds. She was on the podium,
right behind. Yeah,
this feels fair.
That's fine. I'm cool with this.
Yeah,
podium over like a couple of mid.
Yeah,
I'm fine with that. Anybody else we want to put in? Did Esther is appropriate? I think still. I don't think she needs to drop any further. But
Sandy Menchie
really move up. Sandy Menchie with a 7th place finish. Yeah, I think that.
And she got 2nd place at APAC.
Oh yeah,
I would put that above Lauren.
Okay.
Yeah,
Lauren has one result.
If we're gonna put Sandy and Jolanta, there is a woman who beat both of them, Svetlana Filipovic. So I would say it's kind of unfair to put both of them, but not Svetlana. But I think Jolanta, just because she also raced Trifecta, she has a better resume recently.
Mm-hmm. I'm happy with that.
Does
anyone out deserve Lauren for the final spot?
I mean, Esther just finished 8th.
Yeah.
She's top 8 in the world.
I think that, yeah.
Makes sense.
Right.
Yeah.
And like North American OCR hasn't been popping.
Not too stellar, yeah.
What a change for her this year.
I mean, we were talking about she's on our all-time list somewhere.
She's got, but
she's
athletes have
5th.
had bad seasons. Like, it's not.
Is this a bridge season or is this Michaela is the question? Like, is this going to be?
She has far exceeded what Michaela has done in her career.
No, I'm saying this year. Like, is this now moving forward that we just keep waiting for her to be healthy? Or is this just like she's down
Yeah,
for a
I
little bit,
gotcha.
she's back?
I mean,
I'm
she's
fine
not.
putting Esther on there. She was 1 place behind Sandy. Like,
It's finalized. If I had a gavel. I need
and
a
then there
gavel.
was a 7-minute gap behind Esther, so no one's close.
Nice job for the. I guess we could redo this ranking after this other made-up race that we're going to talk about real quick.
Yeah.
But we might not have to. All right, so that puts a stamp on the Spartan race season, I think, unless they're going to roll something else out. So that will do it for Spartan Race OCR. Again, the season has been interesting as things have segmented even further as the years continue to progress. We're not exactly sure what these all mean. So that's what we spend a lot of our time doing. Like, what does this mean? We're not sure. But generally, this is something that we've seen consistently over time. We got to see some really awesome performances from athletes that we know are at the top of their game with Elisa Petrova and Gregory Basilico. So overall, I was happy with the coverage. I think
Good
that
coverage.
I like that they bring it, that it has been in the same place. So there's some continuity there. There's a little bit of things we can kind of piece together from previous years. Do we know what's going to happen next year?
I thought it's going back to Abu Dhabi. I thought they
It's
announced
still in
that.
Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
Okay.
One piece on the coverage. I think the single quickest way they can improve the coverage, because it was good. You got to see a lot of the race. Is just
Good
not to run
rabbits.
the men and the women at the same time. Then instead of going back and forth from men to women and missing half the race, you can go back and forth from the leader to the chase pack.
They
And
had
then both sides show the full story.
They had a few split screens, but it was often because the cameraman stayed back to go and get them again. And I think that they dropped the ball on the single most important part of the race in terms of movement, which was the double sandbag. We saw virtually none of the lead changes, and I think that would have been very
Who could have
important to see.
known that the double sandbag would impact a Spartan race?
Yeah, late in the race, World Championship.
No way to predict that.
Yeah,
It's great that we got to see anything.
they had good rabbits. I like them.
All right.
Silico is stupid.
So we are now going to stay in the UAE Dubai World Obstacle Championships. Lots of prize money. We have start list here. Jack, do you have the numbers?
For what?
Prize money?
Prize money, yeah. So Megan sent this from Talking Dirty OCR. Let me pull this up. Okay, yeah. So they've got December 5th through 8th. They have several different races. A breakdown of prize money is found here.
That could be internal.
They're giving 500,000 AED. I know. They're giving 500,000 AED, so basically 125,000 or so US cash prizes. 100 meters, 35,000 first for AED, 20,000 and 10,000. So basically 7,500, 5,000, and 2,500 approximately for the 100. They are not giving prize money to age group for the 1,500, which is youth 12 to 16. So I guess previously,
speed it up.
I just read it, man. I'm learning this info as well. 2,500.
There we go.
5,000, 2,500, and about 1,250.
Strong. What about the 5K?
5K, same prize money as the 100, which I just read out, so I won't repeat it.
Okay.
And then they also have a team race, so that's about 2,000 a person for the win, and about 1,000 for second place, and about 500 for third.
Team race. Do we hear anything?
Why were we involved? Oh,
there was a 3K.
Team? Did that happen?
It did.
Yeah.
You didn't know about it though.
No, I didn't hear anything about
They
it.
gave out $10,000.
Wow,
Whew.
really?
Yeah.
That's all. We can move on. I
Russia won.
just remembered now that there was a team race.
Yeah, Russia. It was Elisa, Sergey, and Igor. You're not.
You're
beating
just
them.
bringing it up because you just want to like gloat and how dumb it is, and you're like, ha,
Yeah.
no one cares, no one asks.
Team races are the best.
The surprising thing with the team race is that the team with Gregory Basilico was the second place French team. His team didn't even beat another French team because you had Jeremy Gachet just show up out of nowhere, and like they had people show up specifically for the team race. It seems like.
We
So
should
let's
do
look-
that. We should do a team race only.
Yeah.
I didn't know you could do that.
Now you know. Yeah, Abu Dhabi teams. So first, Russia, second place, France won, and then Slovakia, third place. They had Peter, Jan, and Esther, and then fourth place was the team with Gregory, Thibaut Jean, and Angelique Chetneau from France, number 2.
So let's look at this start list because there are some good names over this world obstacle situation. What do we expect? Is this going to be like a mini FISO?
Yeah, pretty much. Like it like I said earlier, I think that there's some serious brand confusion in terms or the title of this. I think it's
What?
the Dubai Championship brought to you by World Obstacle. I don't think it's a World Championship in Dubai. I think that there's some name confusion there.
So is this
I think
showing,
in
like,
terms of field and money, it's every bit a world championship as 7 of the other 13 we've had this year,
I think so. I think this is a good looking field. It really is. So I mean,
especially on the men's side.
but like the style will be obstacle heavy.
So did you okay, I'm gonna you know what, I'll do a screen share in a sec. That from what it looks like, Rich, describe the Gov Games venue, like the parking. It was simply a flat, big old open space. It's at the design
Kind of
district.
like a fairground.
Yeah, that's probably how I
Ah.
would describe it. But from what it looks like, it's just weaving back and forth, like 100-meter straightaway, hairpin turn, 100-meter straight, like kind of like you do for farmers carry and a high rocks. That is what it looks like.
Did you all watch the in the Olympics the modern pentathlon with the laser situation? Did you catch any of that?
I
It's
didn't watch
basically
this
they
year.
did-
At the Olympics, I didn't think they had it this year. Oh! Wait a minute. Yeah, they had it in like
Modern
a horse
pentathlon?
jumping area. Yeah,
They just kind of like did loops.
Yeah.
And they kind of ran back. Is it that what it's going to be? You're just going to like loop around, do an obstacle, loop around.
I
do an
think it's
obstacle?
like literally like you're waiting in a queue in a line to enter a venue.
Oh,
somewhere.
it might be time trial style, which BK is about that.
Yeah.
I'm fine with real time trial style.
Yeah, as long as they
OCR
keep-
time trial isn't a thing.
Maybe they will just send it off one at a time for a
Yeah.
flat 2.5K.
We see this lane back and forth thing from time to time in Europe. Europeans will do well with this.
Yes. Who are the Americans here? Ryland's out there. And is that it?
Pretty much.
And then is Nicole? And Nicole will do well just because she's so good at obstacles.
Yeah.
And this, like, there will be no terrain.
But
She
look
can
at
just
this
fast turn
men's
over.
list right here. This is stacked.
Gregory Basilico, I would not take to win
Top
this.
podium.
Yeah, I do not think. With Yessa DeHare here, Jonas Drescher, Leon will be really good.
Ishmael's going to get out and is too short to fade.
Stein's out here.
TVT?
EVT, big
From
beast.
South Africa. Leon's going to be dangerous in a course like this.
Yeah.
Totally. Igor is always good at OCR World Champ style.
Gustav, another Danish guy. He's going to be good.
They love
Peter-
the Danes. Love it. They perform well in
I c-
in this venue.
I could see Sergey. You know, he probably had
For
this
sure.
on his plate. Also, he's like, "Hey,
Sleeping at
Beast
home.
isn't going well. I'll save it."
And then on the women's side, who do we like? Well, Nicole for sure. Are there any other?
I like that Ulrike's back.
Ulrike for sure. Are there any obstacle specialists in here that we like?
Svetlana's back.
I mean,
Erin
Henriette,
Backstrom.
Katrin Leveros, she's going to do really well. Sandy, Sarah Beckstrom, she got 4th in Croatia, and she's OCR Worlds, podium threat all the time. Signy's really good at obstacles. Ulrika, we'll see if she's feeling it or not. This is a loaded field again.
Let's take a look at this 5K now. So a little bit more of A little bit more run we could have. Let's get in there. Oh,
It's
yeah.
pretty similar people.
Yeah, is it the same? There's no reason not to do it. It's just going to be the course twice, you think?
That'd be my guess. I'm
If
trying to
so,
find this
that
layout.
really changes things.
How so?
Having to do all the obstacles again,
Double obstacles. You're right. Yeah.
that changes things immensely.
Yeah.
Rather than doubling the run distances, huge difference. It doubles down on who's good on the 3K rather than rewarding the runners.
Mm-hmm. I like Stein here. I like Stein in both.
He might be my pick also.
Stein the ground.
Yeah.
And then
I'd be TVT if they're doing 2 rounds.
Big
I don't know if
beast.
he's fast enough.
Leon
I
could
think
be
you're
really
going to need
good.
to in 2 rounds. But
There might not be that much
Stein's
running.
right. Stein.
I mean, Stein and Yessa.
They're going to go 1, 2.
How about, honestly, Rylan? Why not?
Because he misses obstacles.
But he's also won a 3K Worlds, and he's aggressive. Like a 2,500, I feel like is a fantastic distance for a guy like him.
How many obstacles?
If there's output,
I don't know, like 20.
I don't care about the distance. I care about how many obstacles they have.
Yeah,
20 obstacles over 2,500 is not fast running.
Yeah, is there a fitness component here?
Probably not.
If we get some skier out there, then I'm taking our guy Rylan.
I mean, if you're getting an obstacle every 100 to 150 meters, like you can afford to not be a great runner.
Yeah, no, this is going to be very obstacle dense stuff. And whenever there's an event that has 100 and they're incentivizing people for that, you can kind of expect it to be just similar style.
This is truly going to be an obstacle race, and who's the best track runner, because I don't see where they can find elevation at that venue.
For sure.
Yeah. But I think you can gain more on a rig than you can gain in a 100-meter run.
Probably.
But so you're not wrong, but I think the obstacle wins out. So just give me the Danes and the.
I like Igor too.
Give me all the Europeans. Has this just proven it this last couple of weeks that outside of Nicole, the sport of OCR does not need the United States anymore? We have almost no bearing on.
This
anything.
is the first. Yeah, this is the first year since 2014 that we didn't see Lindsay or Ryan at a world championship, and it still went on.
America. Yeah.
It stinks. Like, I would love to see like VJ make a comeback. Just it would have been great if Emma stuck around, if Annie wasn't injured, Chris stuck around. Like it'd be great having some more Americans on the
men's side. Who do we even throw into that beast to be like, now we're cooking. Get off the podium, Euros.
It'd be nice to have seen Balin Bean, to see Rylan.
Yeah.
We'd be sending really good, tough, quality question marks.
Like a Mark Gaudet, I think if he has another shot at the desert, like he's a great runner, but actually he went over there once and
different story, another terrain, but in the sand, like we don't have a golden arrow to send over there.
No.
Put them in some of our courses, yeah, sure, but over there, we're kind of irrelevant right now.
Big time.
Everyone's got to push all their chips into the Super World Championship at Mammoth next year, because that's
our world.
That's our world.
Bring altitude running back to Spartan.
There we go. West Coast altitude running.
All right. So successful coverage out there for the Beast. Successful update on Power 11. Next week, we'll be talking about this race, I guess, a little bit. In terms of High Roxy stuff, they had London happen this past weekend. Nothing incredibly relevant happening out there. London's just like, I think it's just an event. See the numbers over the course of the weekend?
14,000 people.
14 stacks. That's crazy.
Is that the biggest number we've seen?
Oh, how can
of like anything?
And that venue must have been really big too, because in the past they've had very kind of tight venues, just because London, it's small, everything is on top of each other, but it's 3-day events. The course seemed to be more fair than typical, but it was still like not fast.
What was Chicago? How many people showed up to Chicago?
I think just under 5 mid. One day.
You have
one day.
Multiple days of that. That's insane.
Yeah.
What's Fenway's record?
Oh, they had because that's a short course. Also, they can have a big throughput. I thought that they had 15,000 for a weekend before.
This is right up at the highest
numbers.
we've ever seen attendance for either sphere.
Yeah, because Fenway has the double weekend and 20.
I thought they were pumping up to 6 to 9 a day.
At Fenway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aren't some of the outdoor events up toward 15, or weren't they?
I don't
Some
know
of the
about that.
SoCal ones, yeah, and
They're
especially
not
adding
unique
trifectas
participants,
now.
though. They pump
That's
their
true.
numbers up with every start line person.
It could have been the
Yeah.
same here for High Rocks, but it's probably less likely people doing multiples in a weekend than in Spartan, where people are just out there jogging around.
Yeah.
Yeah. If I'm looking at like Fenway 2015, let's see, 235 elites alone. That's absurd.
Who won that year?
Um,
I'm just kidding.
you beat Isaiah and then had a big gap over Jun Young Pak.
Yo,
Back.
let's
Yeah.
go. Remind us that when we do the all-time rankings,
17. That's top 17 material.
that's top 17 shit.
Yeah, Bracken, on Saturday only, you had 6,362 open and then 235. So yeah, about 6,600 in a day. And then Sunday, probably about similar.
You
So
usually see a little higher on Sunday
on Sunday, yeah.
on stadiums.
On stadiums. Did you show up on day 2? Or let's take a look.
Couldn't
Isaiah Kempson and Kieran McCormick. Wow, that's a name I haven't heard for a while.
handle your business and you leave before you can be proven false.
Exactly. Yeah. No, day 2 they had about 4,000. So, but still, that was, you had 11,000 or so for the weekend at 2015's Fenway. I'm sure some of the years around that were pretty similar. So, big numbers from High Rocks.
And then what do we got this weekend? When's Estacom? That's coming up, right? Do we have any? Oh, we have Anaheim.
Anaheim, yeah.
Anaheim.
Hunter
Hunter has, allegedly, you know, says
Yeah.
he's going to race. Says a lot of things.
What's he
Maybe
running?
We'll see him.
Let's set the line.
Pro division.
Probably pro.
My
Probably
opinion,
pro.
660.
He can, I think he might do teams. So
He might.
Good.
He might.
Yeah.
What, he just does a relay or something?
That's it.
I don't know. I don't know what else. I mean, it seems that he wants to be fit.
He's
when
not running
steps on the line.
54-28.
Probably not. I would take the over on that, but maybe I don't know. Whenever he shows up,
Why
he's
not?
ready to
I'll take
go
the
as
over.
fast as possible.
Yeah.
All right, take the over. Let's roll at the line.
56 flat.
That would be great.
That's my line.
56 flat, good line.
So we have the Riker line for being good, and now we have the Rich Ryan line for if you're a world championship contender or not.
Wowza, that's
I
something.
like that.
Didn't project that in the beginning
Leveled
of the year.
up. Yeah.
So we have Anaheim. Good luck to everybody racing out there. Should be fun. I think there is a European race or two as well. Yes, Stockholm is this weekend, and so is Marseille.
Marseille.
Marseille. What is it?
France. Marseille.
Marseille. It's a 2-day.
Don't they pronounce it differently in Illinois? Like
They call it Marseilles in Illinois.
Marseilles. Yeah, I was like, it's not.
Who talks
Marseille.
about Marcel in Illinois?
We
Nobody.
have,
There's a Spartan race there.
yeah,
Oh,
we have
Bracken
New
probably
Berlin
won there, right?
near us.
Ber-
New Berlin,
Ah,
not New Berlin.
New
New Berlin.
New Berlin.
New Berlin. I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. So we got 3 High Rocks events happening, and we get a bit of a break here after the
nothing
there's a
till
race in,
January.
Frankfurt, and then Melbourne, which we'll see Tier. I think the Melbourne that'll be the first.
What's she doing? She
Mixed
going pro.
Doubles, James
mixed
Newberry.
doubles. I know.
I get
annoying.
it. That's how I'd tiptoe in too, but I want to see
James
them
Kelly
run
does
pro.
a
I want to see it.
smash.
It sucks.
Yeah.
I mean, she should have grabbed a women's partner and qualified for Worlds, like Joanna, right?
Yeah. That'd be
Yeah.
disgusting. Yeah.
Why not? Or anybody.
Pick up a sponsor or two.
Yeah.
It's gonna
Just-
be your big break.
I mean, it
World
would be,
championship qualifier.
she could just say it'd just be a flex.
Yeah. Like how
It's a
hard is your
flex.
sport? I
It's
just
like I'm the first person to qualify as a games athlete and in the World Championships in High Rock. Someone's going to do that.
That's on her resume. Yeah.
Someone will do that eventually, and that was her opportunity. She blew it.
Mm-hmm.
She blew it.
Yeah.
All right,
And then next week, Deca Worlds preview.
that's right. Heck
That.
yeah, very exciting for Deca Worlds. That'll be all. We'll wrap this thing up. Nice job, everybody. Talk to you soon.